As your business gets busier, you start to look for ways to save time. The trouble is, you're using band aid solutions that don't actually solve the problem fully or for the long term. In this week's Hot Seat episode, Alex has been having weekly calls with his clients and it's killing his time availability. He's struggling to find ways to create more time so he can take on more clients. Jonathan helps Alex see the quick fix he's added isn't going to work for long and what he needs to do in order to take on more clients while still meeting their needs. I'll be back at the end to recommend another episode. Enjoy.
Alex, you're up, my dude. Good to see
How's it
you.
going, Joe?
Alex and I were hanging here in Mexico about a month ago. Him and his girl came to Allison's birthday party and hung out a few times and stuff. It was fun. So Alex, same thing, real quick, for anybody who doesn't know you yet, who you are, who you serve, and what are we talking about today?
Yeah, so I'm Alex. I serve Busy Men. I've been in OTM for over a year now. I'm in Legacy and just been like slowly scaling the biz. So right now, my current bottleneck is um just like time management. So, before starting OTM, I would like do like weekly check-in calls, and then this went down to 2 weeks and then down to 3 weeks. But still now, I find that having these like one-to-one check-in calls is taking up a huge chunk of my time in
Mm-hmm.
my week. Like my entire Wednesdays, Thursday evenings, and then Friday mornings are just devoted to just like doing these calls. And so what I've slowly started to do is anyone who I enroll now, I'll do like check-in calls as needed, but then I've been doing Loom calls instead for check-ins to free up kind of my time and do those whenever. And that's kind of working. I just started doing like a couple weeks ago. With my current clients, I've tried to like graduate some up. So like, you've been doing well in your progress. Probably don't need these one-to-ones as frequently, but I still want to give you the attention. So I'm going to graduate to like monthly calls and doing looms in between. Some people have been like, I haven't said it to everyone, but the people that I have told that to, they're pretty receptive to it. So that seems like it's going well, but I still feel like I can't just switch everyone to just doing loom calls. And
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out how am I going to scale beyond where I'm at right now with like kind of the
Are you
situation.
comfortable sharing where you're at right now?
Yeah, so right now I'm doing roughly like 20K per month, 44 clients. Um, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you're I mean, this example with Loom is a good example. So I'll talk about that, but then we're gonna bring it out a little bit um, onto kind of the bigger problem, because what you're doing with Loom isn't really solving your problem, is it? It's
Mm, like a
it's putting a
band-aid.
band-aid on it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's putting I literally wrote down band-aid. You and I are thinking the exact same thing. It's putting a band-aid on it. Whereby it's fine for now, but like to what end?
Hmm.
All that you're doing is you're doing effectively the same amount of work, maybe a little bit less time, but you're doing it on your own time,
Hmm.
which is valuable. But again, to what end?
Exactly.
That might get you up to be able to serve 50 clients, maybe 55, maybe 60. But it's not going to help you get to the next stage. And so the point that you're at is a very interesting point where it sounds like you've already decided what you want. But, and I think it's worth thinking about what somebody wants, because I think it's perfectly reasonable for a trainer to be at where you're at, 40 to 50 clients, whatever, 20, 25K a month. You slowly push up your price maybe a bit, but like, you're kind of like, if I can do this and make 20 or $25,000 a month for the rest of my life, like I'm pretty good. Um, or you decide that you want to scale up. And if you decide that you want to scale up, you're not trying to scale to 30K. There's no point. You're
Mm.
going 100. You're going 500.
Yeah,
Like,
true.
like,
Yeah.
like that's got to be where your compass is pointing. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be there like tomorrow, but you're at that tipping point now where if you decide that you want to continue to grow, you're going to have to start to put into place the things that you need, not just to take a step, but to take a quantum leap.
I feel that too. It's like a big kind of stepping stone that I need to transition my business right now. And I feel like I'm making like those tiny incremental steps that are like kind of paving the way for a little bit, but it's like that band-aid, but then it's gonna get ripped off soon and have to do something else like within the next month or two.
I don't think it'll be the next month or two. I think it'll take you longer to build out.
Fair enough, but like
But
what I mean is the band-aid analogy. It's just like I'm
yeah,
getting stuck
like
every
you don't ever want to get to the point in your business where you're scared to take on more clients because of the amount of work that it's going to be.
yeah.
And I mean, I feel like you're probably there. You're like, do I want more people? Like I want more money. But I don't want more people. So, I mean, look, I'll be honest with you. Ooh, you got me still?
Yep, we're still there.
Okay. I think my internet cut for a second. Um, I think the coaching model, the coaching business model that we built with OTM is the best coaching business model on the planet. My agent literally has already approached me to write a book about it because it's a productized, scalable model. And it's built upon pillars and specific expert coaches within each pillar, where you have basically call it like an expert persona or a brand at the top of it, but you actually don't need to hear from them very often. I can come here and love to chat with you guys, but like I'm really not needed in the program. Like I'm really not needed in OTM, am I? And that's a big kick in the ego nuts for me. But it's also nice. And the way that we've designed that is we took a step back and we said, what are the pillars? You can't have more than 4 or 5. Probably with you, to be honest, it'll be 2, maybe 3.
Mm-hmm.
And so you tell me, what are the pillars within your coaching? You're working with mostly men, right? Is it only men?
Well, it comes down to just like, accountability, nutrition, and training. Like those are the three things that you're going to be covering. And like the business mentorship, obviously, is a lot more things that you have to like consider, and then you need more calls to like cover these topics and these bigger problems. Like with fat loss or building muscle, it's not like rocket science.
Yeah. So I mean, you're looking at nutrition. So call it nutrition plan. Now I get that there's more to it. We'll just use that term because everybody gets it, even though it's not a perfect term. But call it nutrition planning, workout programming, and then I don't know what you call it, mindset/accountability coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Probably, I mean, I'm just going from my experience working with your type of, because we spoke so much about it when you were in Mexico that I know a bit deeper about who you work with. I'm going from my experience working with the type of people that you work with. Some of them are really going to need a lot of coaching, and some of them are going to need none. And it's probably kind of one or the other. Maybe some people need a couple calls to get them going, but like, for example, if I was coaching with you, I'd never want to talk to you. Like, I just never. Like, maybe send you a text every so often if I have a question. But like, I don't want to hear from you. I definitely don't want to get on the phone with you. And if you send me a Loom, ain't no way in hell I'm watching that thing. And there's going to be some people like me. And then there's going to be some people that like, I just want to talk about my feelings. Like that Family Guy where Peter Griffin takes uh, what did he take? Oh, he took female hormone pills, and then he's in the bathtub and he's calling Quagmire and he's like, "How you doing? How you feeling?" Right? There's going to be some of that, and I think that that's fine, and I think that that's the individuality of what we do. But you're basically looking at 3 pillars, aren't you? You're
Mm-hmm.
looking at nutrition programming, nutrition planning, workout programming, and mindset slash accountability or accountability. And so, if you want to scale this, what you effectively need is what you want to do is you want to create you've seen those like employee charts where you have like the whole business and there's whatever like the CEO at the top, and then you have kind of like the next level down, their direct reports, and then their direct reports. So you kind of want to build something like that for all of the roles of your business. Now it's relatively simple. You've got call it yourself at the top. Then you have basically your 2 departments. So one department is marketing and sales. One department is going to be call it coaching. which will do all this. And then maybe eventually there's going to be a customer service or administration.
Okay.
And under that umbrella. And so customer service administration is bookkeeping, is accounting, is whatever. Right. So you want to draw this all out. Under coaching is going to be nutrition planning, workout programming, mindset, accountability. And then under marketing sales is going to be content, DM stuff, maybe email, sales calls. Right? Maybe there's paid acquisition, whatever, like this could grow into more bubbles. And then put a name. My dad taught me to do this a long time ago as I was building up my business structure. Put a name in every block. And at the beginning, you know whose name is going to be in every single one of those blocks?
My name?
Your name.
Yeah.
But over time, now you know what you got to replace.
Yeah.
And so systematically now you're not hiring a coach. You're hiring somebody who is an expert at nutrition. And their only job is going to be the nutrition expert, like what we have with OTM. Right? We have a success coach who I would call the mindset accountability type coaches. They're the concierge service, they're the client facing, right? But then we have a specific expert for each pillar. And that expert's job is to help build the content if there needs to be content, help host calls if there needs to be calls. Basically do the job of that pillar over time. Because it's really, really hard to find somebody like you who's another coach who's really, really good at what you do. But it's really, really easy to find somebody who's just an empathetic coach who maybe isn't that good at programming, but who cares? They're really, really good at listening. They probably, I mean, this is probably going to be an old client of yours, to be honest, but they've probably been through your program before. So they know what it feels like to be in the before, the middle, and the after, and all the peaks and the valleys. Like you can intellectually know that, but to be able to feel that and communicate that with somebody else is different. And then you can decide which pieces of this you want to hold on to based off of what you love. And you don't need to hire people full time for these roles. You can hire somebody for 10 hours a week to do mindset calls, for example. And
I like
I would give your clients the option to do them or not. Don't say it's a different price.
Okay. Okay.
Because a lot of them are going to be like, I want to talk to you.
Yeah. It's like all the clients I'm currently with, it's if a guy like completely change everything, they're gonna be like, what are you doing? Like this is not what I signed
Sure.
up for. So it's like new people coming in, we can obviously honor this new like business model where we have like these group calls with a nutrition coach, for example. But what am I supposed to do with everyone else? So I'm in that like weird transition phase because like everyone
Yeah.
new coming in, I'm mainly doing Loom to save time. Everyone who's currently been with me for like some time, I'm slowly but mainly just still honoring the check-in calls.
I would say two things to that. I would say number one, is that a fact, an opinion, or a guess that they would like leave if you were to perhaps delegate some of their service? I don't know the answer to that, but that's the type of thing that, in my experience, a lot of people tell themselves, but they don't actually have any evidence to back up. And so, even stuff like, hey, maybe you still do their calls, but maybe you don't do the workout programming or nutrition, for example, or whatever it is, right? Or, worst case scenario, if you're really worried about this, which I don't think you should be, but if you're really worried about this, then keep doing it for the people you're working with, and there's going to be a natural churn over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, that these people are going to fall off, and everybody knew who you put into your new system. I don't suggest that. I think that you could
Do it quicker.
probably do it quicker. But you also want to get like new people going slower. You're not given like especially the person who's, call it the mindset accountability, like who's on the calls with your people. you're not getting them doing 30 calls a week right off the bat. And you
Hmm.
probably want to be reviewing the calls with them as well, at the beginning, especially.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's slow to build this stuff up.
Right.
But once you get it going, and then, like I said, systematically now you've got that chart. You can just look at it. And if somebody comes in and they say, hey, do you need a coach? You could say, oh, yeah, I'm looking for this exact specific coach to do this exact thing. I have 7 hours a week with you. Like you can be very, very specific that way. Um, which is much nicer than saying, yes, I would love a coach. Will you help me coach? And then it's kind of like falls on your shoulders to figure out what job to give them to, which of course is even more
Yeah.
work for you.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I've been having like a lot of ideas of like how I'm gonna like overcome this bottleneck, but the biggest fear that I have is just like rejection from current clients complaining about certain things. So I had a couple people kind of like my business is kind of changing. I've had people reach out and say like they didn't really like it or they weren't like a fan of me doing certain things. And it kind of throws me off. But even if it's just like one or two people out of like 45, it still kind of like hurts sometimes.
It does. And it makes you worry. And uh, it makes you worry about whether everybody's thinking that way, about whether it's all going to end, about whether they're all going to figure you out. And, you've been getting away with this whole time. Believe me, man, I get it. I get
Mm,
it. What I can tell you is that we've worked with a lot of people over the years who have gone through transitions like what you're going through. And yeah, sometimes they have one or two or three clients that fight it or are unhappy with it. Occasionally, very rarely, are they a little bit vocal. And you can decide then and say, hey, you know, I do have a little bit more space for call it whatever you want for the legacy way of working. Uh, Happy to continue with you like that for now, and we can reassess in 3 months, right? Or you can say to them, look, I totally get it, Jim, but to be honest, it's important for me to grow this business, and I know that there's going to be some growing pains, but I really do think that this model is going to be much, much better for everybody as I get really specific coaches who are exceptional at this one thing instead of me being a jack of all trades. I think you'd benefit more from having a specific expert in each area to work with. And if that really doesn't work with you, then I totally understand and happy to have that conversation. Uh, and, sometimes you might lose a few clients, but in the great scheme of things, it's a blip in the road.
true.
But I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
changes fine.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
doing a group coaching call this week though. I'm doing my first one on Thursday. So we'll
Okay.
see how that goes.
See how it goes, man. Yeah.
Okay.
See how it goes. But yeah, I really recommend that exercise. Even if you just do it for you, even if you're not doing any of this, call it delegation, like business build out, just to be able to build that map out for yourself and be like,
Yeah.
here's all of the jobs I'm doing. Because if you do decide that you want to build this thing into a multi-million-dollar coaching business, you're going to need to replace almost every single one of those with somebody else. And so it's nice to have that visually in front of you to know, kind of call it systematically, uh, over time what you're going to replace, or just to be able to say, okay, here's all the things that I do, which is always fun and sad sometimes.
Oh, thanks,
Thanks,
John.
Alex. Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate
Amber again, thanks for listening in. This episode was from a group call from Jonathan's online trainer mentorship, where we host hot seats every 2 weeks. The mentorship is where we take anyone doing from $1,000 to $20,000 a month or more and help them scale up. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in learning more about, please DM the word mentor to Jonathan on Instagram at It's Coach Goodman. If you're looking for another episode to listen to right now, I'd recommend episode 140, What to Hire For. As your business grows, you'll start looking to hire. The hard part is figuring out what exactly you should be hiring for. In this episode, you'll learn how to decide what to offload first, overcome the worry about clients not wanting to work with anyone but you, and justifying raising your prices. Again, that's episode 140, What to Hire For. Thanks again for listening, and we'll catch you next week.